guys, I am going to show you a high plank with opposite arm and leg extension or raise. I quite like to call this one the balancing act because it's quite difficult on the balance. And the analogy I quite like to use with this one is, or with many of the core exercises in the plank position, is imagine you have a cocktail balancing on your back and you don't want to let it tip over, preferably a martini because the glasses are really quite fragile for the liquid to come out. So you really want to keep things very square when you're doing this exercise. So I'm just going to show you how to get there first. First things first, nice strong plank position. And when I say nice and strong plank position, I mean with a nice pelvic tilt, core is properly engaged. So I'm here, over here, my pelvic tilt is there, I'm not letting this kind of thing happen. My lower back is protected, and most importantly, I am already feeling it loads. So the exercise is pretty simple. You're going to lift opposite arm and leg, and then switch sides, lift opposite arm and leg, okay? Whew, that's hard. So important, what I want to try to avoid is obviously like this kind of thing and that kind of thing, very exaggerated, but I want to try to keep my core very stable. And if you ask me, actually, I nearly feel that this one is easier than just lifting one arm up, because you sort of counterbalance by lifting the leg up as well. So if I'm trying to lift just one arm up, it's quite easy to sort of feel like I'm falling over, but if I lift both, it's a little bit easier to keep that balance. Now, the further apart your legs are and arms are, the easier this exercise is going to be. So if you're struggling a little bit to begin with, give yourself a nice wide position. I wouldn't recommend having your arms too wide, but you can have them on the wider side than on the narrower side. Legs though, you can have them as wide as you want. So if you have your arms sort of like just shoulder width apart or a tiny bit more than shoulder width apart, and you can have your legs sort of over here, tuck everything in, and that is going to be a little bit easier than if you're sort of over here and trying to do this, which is really quite tough. Yeah, so that would be my first tip. The second tip is, if you're really struggling, start with just the legs and then just hover your hand out, just like lift it up. So you're here, start with just the legs, practice that, keeping everything stable, and then when you're ready, just lift a little bit, hover a little bit, and then with time, you will be able to hold it for a little bit longer. Okay, that got me all worked up. Alright guys, if you have any questions with regards to this exercise or the pelvic tilt, I talk about it a lot in my videos, so any core exercise will have an explanation of the pelvic tilt, and there is a video about the pelvic tilt if you're really that curious. So I've just rewatched the video I just made about the balancing act. I forgot to mention one very important thing. When you're lifting your leg up, so with the leg extension, lifting your leg up, we want to make sure that you're not losing that pelvic tilt. That's really, really key, and it's also key to help you keep that balance, because if you've lost it, you've lost that engagement and you crumble. So, let me just demonstrate. Just tuck this in. Over here, I'm going to just demonstrate just the legs, just to show you what I mean. And sorry, I have quite a curved back, so it looks sometimes like I'm sort of curving it, and I know some of you will also have this issue, but you need to know and be true to yourself that you're actually tucking things in. So over here, I'm tucking in, and when I'm going to lift my leg up, I'm trying not to let this happen, yeah? So I'm still tucked in. And same here, still tucked in. If I let this happen, I've had it, it's not going to work. So over here, keep it tucked in, lift that arm if you want as well, but you need to make sure that you're not losing that engagement of that pelvic tilt. So just thought I would add that to the video. All right, now you can enjoy your balancing act plank.